And leaving the publication also gave me a jumping off point to get connected with Access, just my own access. If anything, watching Mr. Hip Hop smooth talk others and me gave me the ovaries to act as if as well. I thought, if he could do it, I surely can do it too. What those 9 months working with Mr. Hip Hop taught me was that there was no perfect timing. You go for it. 9 times out of 10, he was talking out of his ass, but he just needed to execute one to move to the next step of his publishing business.
Hey, it's Mingjie here. I am at Timberline. This is my first attempt at putting on snow chains. Here goes nothing.
By the time I was ready to start my own publisher, I had blown most of the money I'd made from the house I had sold, so I had asked my dad to invest in my idea. Initially, he was hopeful. I used the money for an office that I also moved into since I couldn't afford both rent for a living and an office. Sneaking into the building at night wasn't as scary as anticipating that I may hear noises around this building where plastic surgeons used to operate.
When I get home, I'm tired and tethered, caught in circles where I have been before. Forget the time, this place is not mine. I feel alive every time I close the door. Here we go on the road somewhere I don't know, but we're going home. We're gone forever. Here we go on the road somewhere I don't know, but we're going home. We're gone forever. It might be slow. Look out the window. A sea of strangers. You're not alone. From your train car, you're never too far. The place you're going might be right where you are. Here we go on the road somewhere I don't know, but we're going home. We're
Hey, Mingjie, it's Kevin Collins. How are you? Thanks for your messages and voicemail. I'm actually heading up there Friday. Our screenings are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I know the premiere is totally sold out. I don't know about the other ones. They just took away all the crew tickets so buyers can get in. So that was sort of a rude awakening yesterday. Just because they need to sell the movie up there, so those are the most important seats to fill. Anyway, I will hopefully see you up there. Yeah, and I'll do. I know I'm doing a bunch of press, but wait, there you go. You're on the other line.
If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him. Henry David Thoreau, Walden. This notion that material investment is somehow more important to life than personal investment is exactly what leads so many of us to believe we could never afford to go vagabonding. Indeed, the freedom to go vagabonding has never been determined by income level. It's found through simplicity, the conscious decision of how to use what income you have. The ancient Hindu Upanishads refer disdainfully to that chain of possessions wherewith men bind themselves and beneath which they sink. Ancient Hebrew scriptures declare that whosoever loves money never has money enough. Jesus noted that it's pointless for a man to gain the whole world yet lose his very self. And the Buddha whimsically pointed out that seeking happiness in one's material desires is as absurd as suffering because a banana tree will never bear mangoes. Vagabonding sage Ed Buren knew as much. By switching to a new game, which in this case involves vagabonding, time becomes the only possession, and everyone is equally rich in it by biological inheritance. Money, of course, is still needed to survive, but time is what you need to live. So, save what little money you possess to meet basic survival requirements, but spend your time lavishly in order to create the life values that make the fire worth the candle. Dig?
Yeah, but it was 11 years in the making, so it wasn't something that just came to me yesterday. It was something that I optioned in 2006.
And so what's been so unique about this project for you?
Well, I've done 58 rewrites, I think, and in the 10 days leading up to the shoot, a rewrite every day. We kind of came together as this creative, we are not gonna we are gonna make this happen no matter what's thrown at us. And the actors delivered, and it's a beautiful film. I wish I could share it with you. It's going to premiere at Eccles here Tuesday. I think what I learned was that being a doc filmmaker was perfect preparation for all of the curveballs that were thrown at us, because we were shooting in New York. We were shooting a period film about Robert Mapplethorpe, another very controversial figure, another very inspiring and possible visionary, and that was my attraction to it from way back when. And obviously, he's this phenomenal photographer, so the cinematography had to live up to it. When Jonah and Nancy and I all got on my couch, we opened up Nan Golden, and we opened up all of these books of what New York was like, and photographers back in the 70s and 60s even, and we chose to do a really restrained palette And we stuck to it, and we stuck to a very specific lighting. And it's like, to me, it looks like a moving painting. It's absolutely, and it's shot on Super 16, it's drippingly gorgeous. And so it lives up visually to Mapplethorpe's work. And yeah, we cut it in 10 weeks and rocket shipped it over here. And hopefully you'll get to see it soon. I really hope to be able to share it with you, but I definitely caught the bug. I'm not done. My next film is also 70s period. It's about my father and mother, and my father founded the fastest growing airline in the history of the world, which is probably why I like these impossible visionaries. But when I was 9, his neck was cracked in a massage and he suffered a massive stroke. And they stuck together. It's a love story to my parents, and a story about security being an illusion. And it's really an American story that's pretty powerful.
Okay.
So yeah, more scripted films coming from me as well as docs.
Sounds like you have a pretty good shot at being a 3-time Sundance winner.
I told them that, actually, when they disqualified me from competing again in documentary. I was on the jury in 2010. I had just won in 2009. And they said, you can't compete anymore until other people win twice. And I said, well, fine, I'll just be back with Mapplethorpe for my 3rd. And I was heading that way, so, but yeah, there was a bump in the road. But I can't really talk about it. Did Russell do any legal stuff to try to stop the film? No. No, it all came down to this dog named Topsy. If you've seen the film, it's this puppy. And I was ready to fall on the sword. I made some concessions for Russell. I actually flew to Bhutan on the invitation of the Queen to show my movies in Bhutan to hide from Russell, to run down the clock before South by because he was making so many demands to change the film. And it called me when I was at Sundance that year, 2015, to say if I didn't make these changes that he would stop the film and pay back the investors. He's already thought about it. He's willing to throw $4 million at it. Because they had run up quite a bill before I took over. They called me the Ondinator. But yeah, no, he never really threatened legal. He just threatened that he would pay the investors back and bury the film. And I just, you know what happened? Janet Pearson, who's a fantastic woman, who runs South by Southwest, I spoke to her here at Sundance, and I told her what was happening. And I think, Lucy, you ran camera on me crying on the phone with Russell as he was threatening me. And then his manager said, well, he does tend to try to untie a knot with a hammer. But don't get too upset, Ondi. So, but anyway, Janet said, is our contract with you? And I said, yeah. She said, I want to show the director's cut. So I knew that even if the film was never going to have a release, it was going to see the light of day at South by Southwest for a few screenings no matter what. So when it came down to he was saying, you must cut this thing that he does that's about this dog called Topsy. I just couldn't do it. I was like, I'm going to that's it. That's the end of my relationship with Russell. I'm going to fall on the sword for this puppy. To me, where I drew the line ethically was, look, he's my subject, he put trust in me, but if he performs something publicly and now he wants to take that back, that's not okay. If he said something in an interview, in a sit-down interview, really technically I shouldn't have cut it. That's my one regret, is I cut something he said about his MSNBC performance in an interview because he really pushed me to, and I regret doing that because he said it to me in the light of day to the camera. If I'm filming him cooking and he says something, off color about something and then it's going to show him in a bad light, absolutely will honor his request to cut that. You know what I mean? But I feel like as a doc filmmaker, you kind of have to keep your north, which is a truth also to the truth, not just to your subject.
Well, documentary filmmaking is clearly not for the faint of heart. I certainly learned that from Doc.
Not this kind.
No.
Not these people, I'll tell you that.
Well,
There's one more.
yes.
One quick. In terms of Jungletown, is what made you? It's sort of a two-part question. What made you decide to hold the rights so that you could? What do you think you're going to get out of a documentary feature that you can't get out of the series? I guess basically, and who do you think you will reach outside of the sort of Vice has a very large platform, obviously. So what made you decide that you had to keep the option of documentary feature?
I thought that, my belief, it goes back to my belief, and it's been proven. I think it's no coincidence that the two films that won Sundance were shot over 7 and 10 years respectively. I think time provides the greatest narrative, and I advise you as filmmakers to hang in there, absolutely hang in there. And if you lose you need a break, then take a break, but just realize that you can come back to it, and that time provides this great narrative. So the idea of looking at these people making this great effort to build a town, if they can do it, then it can be replicated. And if it can be replicated, then we can learn to live differently at a time. We all need to. You know, we all need to learn that. And so even for now, if you're not going to move down to Panama or go join any number of sustainable towns that are being built all over the place, it turns out there are more, you sort of realize by seeing people who have made a choice to take a risk in their lives and to try to live more responsibly, hopefully it lives with you. You know, so the series I really appreciate because the messages that are inherent in it got out there. But then the feature, I feel like, will be a really exciting reveal of how what